Hey guys, in today's video we're going to talk a little bit about domestic tourism making a push to open up here in the Philippines and what that might mean for you for international tourism. Stick around. Hey guys, so today we have some news coming out about domestic tourism. Now earlier today I had a live stream, and in that live stream I had talked a little bit about how I think that domestic tourism really needs to open up first before we really start seeing and worrying about international tourism opening up, because it's just kind of the step in the whole process here. And so I was telling people that I think really we should be watching the news for domestic tourism and not really paying so much attention about the international tourism so much, because it's just a step of, in the right direction, the progression of things opening up. And lo and behold, as soon as I did the live stream, I got some news articles that came out that I thought were really good news, kind of about what I was preluding to. And so I wanted to discuss that, and I'll tell you a funny story that happened in between the news articles here today that I thought was kind of amusing. I'll share that with you here. But the first piece of news is coming out of Boracay. Now Boracay is like the flagship island in the Philippines. It's just world famous. Just tons of tourists go to Boracay. And now it is actually open. You do have to go through a few hoops to get there, but you can get there now. But their domestic tourism is way down, and so it's just not a bustling place right now. And I think they had actually came out and said, let's see here if I can find it here, but 20 to 30% of the more than 100 bars and restaurants in Boracay are operational now. That's pretty low. That's a huge number. Just 20 to 30%. They actually authorized more than 282 hotels to open, but not all decided to operate. Only 187 resorts have opened. The rest are waiting for the coming of the international travelers. So a lot of places just have shut the doors and are just waiting for international because domestic just isn't cutting it. And as I was saying, domestic tourism is kind of restrictive, and you got to jump through a bunch of hoops. And so not a lot of people, it's not real attractive for a lot of people right now, just because of all the hoops you got to jump through. And the economy's been hit hard, so a lot of people just don't have the extra money to even do that, for domestic tourism. Now these articles, as always, they're going to be down in the comments section, okay? So they will be down in the comments section. I'm not going to go through the whole entire article and read it, like a storybook to you. So you can read the article. The next piece of information here is Bohol. Bohol, just 2 days ago this article came out. I mentioned this in my live stream, but Bohol ready to welcome back tourists. Now if anybody has been to the Philippines and they've been to Bohol, almost the entire island is reliant on tourism. I shouldn't say the entire island, but a large portion of the island is really reliant on tourism. You've got Alona Beach and Panglao, which are the Chocolate Hills and the Lubbock River Cruise, and these places are really reliant on tourism, and there's so many businesses that pop up around it that feed off of that as well. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Alona Beach and Panglao anyway, just because when it is in full swing, for me, there's just too many Chinese and Korean tourists there, and other tourists, and it's just too crowded, and I don't like to go into a place that's just overrun with tourists. I don't care if they're tourists, I just don't want it to be overrun with tourists. I actually like, if you ever, when things do open up, if you come to Bohol, go check out Onda Beach, which is more locals, less expensive for restaurants and accommodations and things like that. And I think the beach is really nice as well, and a little cleaner, actually, in my opinion, because there's less tourists there. So, but anyway, Bohol is saying that the mayor is stating that they suffered huge losses during the lockdown that turned the once bustling island into a ghost town. Now, I have a buddy who is actually in Bohol, And I got a few people that I know living in Bohol, and they said it's just really just a ghost town, just a shell of what it used to be, which makes sense. There's nobody there except for the expats that are still living there. But they are wanting to loosen things up to kind of, they have stated that province has been ready for the return of tourists back to the island as health and safety protocols have been modified to fit the needs of tourists in correlation to the guidelines. Again, I'm not going to read the entire article, but I think they've noticed that, they've put in place a lot of things for tourists to come back domestically, and not a lot of people are coming. And I think so they're modifying things, and they're trying to, spur some growth here because nothing's happening. Not many people are coming. And so that's going on with Bohol. Again, article down in the comments section. The last one, and then I'll end it with a story that just happened to me today. Now, this is kind of the best news for me. I really like the Cebu governor. She's really progressive. She's really trying to make things happen. But Cebu province opens doors to visitors, tourists from other provinces. Now, before, Cebu had stated, this was just a day or two ago, I had read that they only were going to open to within Cebu. So if you were in different areas of Cebu, you could travel around to the different destinations, tourist destinations in Cebu. But now they're saying the Cebu Provincial Tourism Task Force agreed to welcome tourists from outside of Cebu to further boost the economic activity in the province. So this is good news. So now visitors and tourists from other provinces in the country who wish to go to any of Cebu's province towns and component cities can now do so, provided that they, and I won't go through all of this, but here, it's just good news, right? It's just good news. And so I think we're making steps in the right direction. Again, if you want, if you're waiting for international tourism to open up, I was telling people that I really think you should be eyeing when domestic tourism fully opens, because once that opens, the next progression, the next step is going to be international tourism. And so now we're finally getting some steps in the right direction. Let's see how this all plays out. But a few weeks ago, they had stated that they hope to relax things by March. Again, I don't think that has anything to do with international, but domestically, I think they're realizing that they need to do something here, and they have enough safety protocols that they could implement something to get things going here. So good news, I think. Good news. We're taking steps in the right direction, and I think the next step, once we start to see more and more domestic tourism opening up, I think the next step is going to be, of course, international. And so steps in the right direction, I think, here. So I'm going to end it with just a quick story about what happened to me today. Now, throughout the Philippines, and if for those expats who are watching and you live here, you can relate. But throughout the Philippines, everybody's got to wear the face mask. That's just part of the deal, right? Pretty much like all over the world. Now, in some places, like in the shopping malls and certain stores, they require that you also wear a face shield. I'll pop it up here on the screen. And so the face shield is required at some places, but you just don't know which places sometimes. So you get to the business and it says, I'm sorry, face shield required. Now, I've literally bought like 10 or 15 face shields already, and I keep forgetting them at home. But I went to the hardware store today, and she said, sorry, sir, you need a face shield to enter. So let me backtrack for a second. So the security guard is at the door wearing a face shield, but the face shield is up on her head. And she's talking to 3 other employees. They're all talking, and all their face shields are up on their head. Now, it's kind of amusing that you have to have a face shield, but once you get it, it goes up on top of their head. And that's the same with like when I went into the shopping mall. As soon as you walk in with your face shield, every customer, every employee that I've saw, it's like the face shields are up on their head. Now I'm starting to see even face shields that are like sunglasses. They're not the full face shield, they're like half. And it's like a sunglasses. And now I'm seeing tinted ones, and I'm seeing designer masks. So it's like this stuff is here to stay. I don't know. But let me backtrack. So conveniently, there's always a lady outside selling face shields for like 20 pesos. So I buy yet another face shield, and I walk over there. I put the face shield on top of my head. I'm like, okay, can I come in now? And she's like, yes. So buy a face shield, walk in. It's on top of my head. The security guard is on top of her head. The employees, the customers, all the face shields are on top of everybody's head. But you guys can relate, I'm sure, if you've been in the Philippines or you're here. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, so again, we're taking a step in the right direction. I think domestic tourism seems to be trying to make a push to get open, and then hopefully next will be international tourism. Fingers crossed. If I had to make a prediction, I would say around September or so. We'll see what happens. So guys, I appreciate you watching the video. And if you do want to help support Geo in the Philippines, you can become a YouTube member. There's 3 different levels. You can check it out. Just click the join button under any Geo in the Philippines video, and I appreciate it. Now guys, if you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it. Hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. That'll keep you updated every time I come out with a live stream or a news update or any video. And also hit the thumbs up. That always helps as well. I appreciate it so much. And guys, I will see you next time.